Good morning, everyone. Is this an absolutely gorgeous morning or what? No?
Or what? It's or what?
It's or what?
No, it's or what?
I think it's absolutely gorgeous. I'm glad to see a few of you. It's wonderful. So, I think there are a few new people in the sanctuary this morning, so welcome to those of you that are new. And for those of you that don't know me, I'm having a little trouble with this mic today. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Reverend Dusty Ripplemeyer. I am the spiritual director of this amazing community. We are a science of mind communities, which means that we practice and teach and follow the teachings of Ernest Holmes. We believe that there is one God, that God is benevolent, that God is eternal, that God lives within us and surrounds us. And we believe that there is a power for good in the universe that we can use to create lives that we love to live. And so we come here on Sundays and Wednesdays and Mondays and Tuesdays and Thursdays and Fridays to celebrate that, to celebrate God, to celebrate life, to celebrate each other, and to support each other on this spiritual path. So we're very grateful that you have decided to join us this morning. Thank you very much. And thank you to all of those at home that are watching us through the technology of live streaming. Thank you very much for allowing us to come into your living rooms this morning. And thank you to everybody who is here. I love this community. I'm glad that you're here.
And so right now I'd like for everybody to go within as I read the reading for today, which is by Eric Butterworth in his book, In the Flow of Life. God is a circle that is centered in you. All the attributes of the infinite are in focus as you, flowing forth through you. You are in this flow. You are this flow at the point where you are. Thus, you are a child of the universe, a son or daughter of God. Meditate on this tremendous insight. It means that you are created in the image likeness of an infinite idea. You are the only begotten of God from the standpoint that no matter what other influences may have left their marks on you from the outside, there is that of you that is begotten only of God, which is forever flowering of the divine flow from the inside. This is the fundamental truth. All else are incidental facts.
So welcome to those of you who may have just arrived in the sanctuary. Our theme for the month of December is the living spirit. God is everywhere if you have eyes to see it. And my talk this morning is in the flow. Now, there are many ways of looking at this idea of in the flow. Many faith traditions and many master teachers talk about this, speak to it, in the flow. There are many areas and arenas in our life that talk about it, that demand that we do that. Now, for instance, in positive psychology, flow, also known as the zone, is the mental state of operation in which a person that is performing an activity is fully immersed in a feeling of energized focus. I'm sure you've had an experience of that. Energized focus. They're fully involved and they're feeling enjoyment in the process of the activity itself. In essence, flow is characterized by complete absorption in whatever it is that you are doing. Imagine for a moment that you are doing something that you really absolutely love to do. Now, whatever that is, if you are in the flow, you are living in the moment. You are completely immersed in whatever that activity is, so much so that time seems to just fade away. You all of a sudden look up at the clock and hours have passed. Where did they go? Now, positive psychologist Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, I'm glad I'm only saying it once, describes this mental state as being completely involved in an activity for its own sake. The ego falls away. Time flies. Every action, movement, and thought follows inevitably from the previous one. Your whole being is involved. So flow experiences can occur in many different ways for different people. Some people might experience flow when they're participating or in a sport, such as running or biking, hiking, tennis, soccer, whatever it is. Many people will experience that flow state in a sporting activity. Other people might experience that flow state when they're engaged in an activity such as writing or painting, drawing, dancing, something like that. And the truth is that an experience of flow can also happen in activities of our everyday life, such as spending time with your children, organizing a garage or an attic. It happens. Volunteering at your local food bank, or in my case, writing a talk. Now, as I was preparing for this talk, I also found another aspect of this idea around flow in positive psychology. And that is that apparently flow also happens when a person's skills are fully involved in an activity that has a challenge that's manageable. So the challenge, they're not too easy, and the challenges aren't too great. In the words of Goldilocks, the challenges would be just right. Now, when we're involved in an activity in which the challenges are just right, those just right challenges act as a magnet to attract new learning, to attract new skills to you. For example, in an educational setting, if you're involved in a challenge in which you are stretching your current skills, or you are slightly extending yourself beyond your current knowledge base, then you have an opportunity to experience flow. Or again, to go back to the sporting idea, is that if an athlete or even a weekend sports enthusiast is doing something that is challenging at that just right level, their athletic, their sport, their ability in that sport, that they can and will experience flow. And that when they do that, when they arrive or reach this state of flow, they actually lose a sense of self-consciousness, and they gain a sense of mastery. So this getting to that place of flow actually allows any activity, whether it's a sporting activity or a learning activity or an artistic activity to be more enjoyable. And it can lead to improved performances and enhanced learning and skill development. So the invitation today is to spend more time doing those things that you love to do. Those things that when you do them, time just flies. The invitation today is to let loose those things that you do that do not do that for you. Just let them go. Find someone else that can do them. Every one of us has a different skill level, a different thing that we do that will take us to that flow. Find someone whose that activity excites them. If you're not very good at like organization or math or something, there is someone in your sphere of friends that loves that stuff. Find them. Get them to do that thing. And if you absolutely have to do the thing, then find a way in which you can do it. from a different space, from a different context that allows you to find the enjoyment in it. The invitation today is to be in the flow. Now we see flow everywhere we look in nature. Through the generosity of a couple of friends, I was able to spend some time on the coast this past week. One evening after sunset, I was sitting on the beach and just was fully present to the amazing beauty that was around me. The moon, while not full, was on its way to being full. You're seeing this, yes? So it was on its way to being full, and it was peeking out from behind the clouds, and it was shining this light down upon the waves as they came crashing into the shore. It was absolutely stunning. And as I sat there, totally present to the beauty that was around me, I became acutely aware of the intelligent presence in nature that allows everything to function with ease. The ebb and flow of the tides, the rising and setting of the sun, the waxing and waning of the moon, the gradual shift from one season into the next season, the movement of the stars in the sky, nothing in nature struggles. It just simply does what it does. The flowers, it says in the Bible, the flowers, the lilies most specifically, do not toil to do what it is that they do. They simply allow that which is seeking to be expressed through and as them to be expressed. They allow their own internal rhythm. They allow their own internal flow without struggle. Deepak Chopra says, birds aren't led on their migratory path by a coach calling out, "No pain, no gain." They don't lie awake at night wondering how they can get ahead or feeling stress about everything still on their to-do lists. They follow their own internal rhythms, which are in alignment with the infinite organizing power of the universe. The invitation today is to lean into nature's example, to remember that we too have our own internal rhythms, our own internal nature, that we are one with the infinite organizing intelligence of the universe, that its intelligence is our intelligence, its power is our power, its ease and grace is our ease and grace. The invitation is to let loose the race consciousness idea that success can only be achieved through relentless effort and struggle. Let loose the race conscious idea that if something comes easily, that it for sure can't have as much value as something that I struggled and burned the midnight oil for. Let loose those ideas. They are not true. The invitation today is to get into alignment with the power and presence of God that is within us and surrounding us, and to allow, as Cindy said, the flow of life to flow through us and as us. The invitation today is to get in the flow. In Taoism, the Tao is the basic, transcendent, eternal principle of the universe. It is the source of all being and non-being. It's what we would call God, the Tao. Now, the teachings of Lao Tzu say that the Tao and water are synonymous. Lao Tzu would invite us to think about this magical, mystical compound known as water, about its amazing nature. Wayne Dyer says, try to squeeze it, and it eludes us. Relax our hands into it, and we experience it readily. If it stays stationary, it becomes stagnant. If allowed to flow, it will stay pure. It maps out nothing, and it plays no favorites. It doesn't intend to provide sustenance to animals and plants. It has no plans to irrigate the field, to slake our thirst, or to provide the opportunity to swim, sail, ski, or scuba dive. Think about it. It simply flows, or it evaporates and falls, or it freezes only to melt when the temperature rises. It's always open to the present moment. It's always open to what is going on around it. It always finds the path of least resistance. It simply does what it does and is what it is. And then think about the fact that we are right now, in this moment, approximately 75% water. That the majority of our physical bodies are comprised of water. That for the first 9 months after conception, we lived in it and we were nourished by it. It's the naturally flowing substance that allows our lives, all of life, in fact, to sustain itself. The Tao invites us to look at the parallels between ourselves and water. Wayne Dyer goes on to say that live as water lives, since you are water. Become as contented as is the fluid that animates and supports you. Let your thoughts and behaviors move smoothly in accordance with the nature of all things. It is natural for you to be gentle, to allow others to go where they are inclined to go, and to be as they need to be without interference from you. The invitation today is to see the Tao, to see God in everything and everyone, to experience the Tao in everything that you experience. The invitation today is to live as water lives, to trust in the eternal flow of life, to follow your own inner rhythms, your own inner calling, to find the path of least resistance, to hold life as you would hold water, with a gentleness and an openness that allows it to flow. Be receptive like water to everything and everyone. The invitation today is to stop fighting life or trying to be like something else rather than being like the amazing compound that comprises the majority of your physical body. The invitation today is to notice that water is always there for you, serving you by flowing naturally, and be willing to let that flowing presence in your own life, to be that in your own life, and in the way that you serve others and serve the planet. The invitation today is to be in the flow. Now, the teachings of Abraham would say that being in the vortex is being in the flow. Being in the vortex is when we are in alignment with our deepest self. It is when our vibrational energy is aligned with source energy. Now, source energy is what we would call, most of us would call, God or the divine or spirit. We and our physical environment, our physical world, are extensions of source energies, just as we say that, everything that we see and everything that we don't see is created by God. Everything, according to Abraham, is an extension of source energy. Source energy is the highest vibration that there is, highest energetic vibration. It defies beginnings and endings. It is eternal. We and everything else originated in this vibration, and then we came into form, into the world of form. So we live in a vibrational universe. Everything vibrates. We are vibrational beings, despite what our human perceptions might be seeming to say about the solidness of this body. Everything that we experience in our physical environment is vibrational, no matter what our human perceptions seem to be saying about our experiences or about our environment. Everything has a vibration. Everything is vibrational. Every thought that we have, every emotion that we experience has a vibration. And not only does it have a vibration, but it sends out or emits a vibration. And that in turn, that vibration in turn attracts unto itself a similar vibration, a similar experience or thing that vibrates at that same vibrational level. This is the law of attraction, yes? The law that says anything that is, that which is like unto itself is drawn. That which is like unto itself is drawn. If they only spoke English, it would be a lot easier. Just kidding. So only those thoughts and feelings with a similar vibration will be attracted to each other. It's just the way that it works. Now, to be in alignment with source energy, or to be in the flow, is to be thinking positive thoughts that naturally allow us to feel and experience peace and love and joy and abundance, creativity. To get into alignment, or into the vortex, or into the flow, we simply have to think the thoughts or turn our attention to the way that we want to be feeling at any given moment. So if you are not feeling the way that you want to be feeling, all that you have to do is to think a thought that turns you in the direction of feeling the way that you want to be feeling. Make sense? So when you do that, that vibrational energy of that feeling tone that you want to have matches when that matches the vibration of the desire that we wish, then through the law of attraction, that becomes our experience. So when we are in the flow, we generate the feeling of the perfect manifestation of that which we desire. We generate that feeling tone. And when we generate that feeling tone or that vibrational level, then that perfect expression becomes our experience. That simple. Abraham also talks about the stream of life. And they say a powerful stream of source energy is now stretched before you, from which your individual personal preferences will be received. So this stream of life is constantly flowing. It is a stream of life created by and of source energy. And it is constantly flowing. Of that you can be sure. Now, we don't have to know how it works for it to work. It just simply flows. We can allow it to flow, or we can resist its flow. But it's going to do what it's going to do. But we have a choice in the matter of how it's going to show up in our own lives. Now, everything that we desire is downstream in this stream of life, just sitting and waiting in what Abraham would call spiritual escrow, just waiting for us to become a vibrational match to it. And then once we become that vibrational match, then through the law of attraction, we draw that thing into our lives. Now, becoming consciously aligned with this stream of source energy allows us to know that anything is possible, that truly we can have any desire that we wish, and that we can live the life that we want to live by being aligned, being in the vortex, being in the flow. Abraham says that our emotions are about our relationship with Source. So our emotions are an emotional guidance system that's always indicating to us whether we are in alignment with Source or whether we are not in alignment with Source. In each and every moment, we have the ability to know if we are in alignment with the truth of our being or not. So when we are in alignment with Source, we thrive. And when we are not in alignment with Source, we struggle. When we think a thought that is in alignment with the truth of who we are, we feel that experience in our bodies. And it feels like joy and peace and harmony and happiness and freedom. When we think a thought that is not in alignment with the truth of who we are, we also feel that in our bodies. And that experience is one of disharmony, of fear, of doubt, of worry, of confusion, or feelings of bondage. Now, at any given moment, we have the ability to know if we're in alignment, if we're in the vortex, or if we are in the flow. And we can, by changing our thoughts, change our alignment. So the invitation today is to know that we are extensions of Source energy, and that that life is a stream of this Source energy. The invitation today is to let loose our old patterns and thoughts that have us fighting against life, that have us swimming upstream against the current. The invitation today is to put your boat in that stream of life, to point it downstream in the flow of life, to even take your oars and put them into the boat and allow that stream of life, that stream that only wants your good, to take you wherever it needs to take you. The invitation today is to be in the flow. In an interview with Oprah Winfrey, we'll take another master teacher, Eckhart Tolle. And in that interview, he's telling the story of a Zen master who was watching a person in an archery competition. And the person was really trying very hard to win this competition, but he was really struggling to do so, struggling to do what he wanted to do. And someone asked the Zen master, what is he doing wrong? And the Zen master said to him, his need to win drains him of his power. His need to win drains him of his power. So what happens is that his need to win puts him in a future moment in which he feels that he will succeed, that he will win this competition, but it is a future moment. He does not have all of his attention on the activity at hand. He does not have all of his attention in the now moment. Now, the now moment is where all of our power resides. And that power simply is not available to us, cannot flow in and through us if we are not in the now moment. Right? We're at the airport when our train is coming in. We are not available. We are resisting. The flow of power is resisted or blocked and not available. And in order to have mastery in what we are doing in life itself, we have to be focused on whatever it is we are doing. We have to have all of our attention on that activity. We have to be in the now moment. Now, being in the flow is not a process of getting there, because there's nowhere to get to. And the truth is that we're already there. All it takes is to fully realize God in each and every single now moment. To know beyond a doubt that we are divine emanations of God, that right where we are, God is in all of its fullness, whole and complete right now. Right now, in this now moment. When we live from this awareness, we are creating our lives from a context of wholeness. When we live from this awareness, we are living in the flow of life. Deepak Chopra, again, this time in an interview with Oprah Winfrey, she gets all the biggies, also spoke to this, and he said, everyone's looking for the future. They're never in the present. This perspective becomes a never-ending cycle. When they arrive at the future, it's not there for them because they're not present to it. Being able to go with the flow, therefore, allows you to fully appreciate the present moment. If you get the idea that this is the moment, the only moment that you have, then you live in the present and you move with the flow. So as soon as we honor the present moment, all unhappiness, all struggle dissolves, and life begins to flow with grace and with ease. When we act out of present moment awareness, all of the activities, whatever it is that we are doing, becomes imbued with a sense of purpose, with a sense of love, with a sense of joy. So the invitation today is to loosen our stranglehold on our preoccupation with the past and with the future, to fully experience each and every moment to its fullest by being present physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, by fully being present. The invitation today is to remember that life is not a process of getting there because there is nowhere to go, that indeed we are already there. The invitation today is to know who and whose we are. To know that we are the presence of God as wholeness and to live our lives from that place. The invitation today is to be in the flow. And so it is. So I just invite us to turn within, to allow ourselves a moment to deeply connect with that power and presence that I call God, but goes by many different names: the Tao, the Zone, Flow. To know that each of us is intimately connected to it, that we were created by it, that its vibrational level is our vibrational level, that we are one with it, ambassadors of it on the planet. Unique and divine expressions of it, each imbued with our own rhythm, our own nature, our own calling. And it is from this place of unity, this divine connection between the infinite organizing intelligence of the universe and ourselves, the connection between each other, the connection that we have between everything on the planet. And it is from that place that I speak these words about and for each of us today, truly knowing that we are spiritual beings having a human incarnation, and that as we lean into that truth, as we stand fully grounded in the awareness of who and whose we are, that we can powerfully step into the flow of life, that truly we are already in it, but that we simply allow it to flow through and as us. We open ourselves up. We do not block it. We do not restrict it. We do not turn our boats upstream and try to paddle against it, but instead point downstream, knowing that everything that we want, everything that we desire is down there in spiritual escrow, just waiting for us. That truly we can have anything that we desire. And so I declare for us today that we do that with ease and grace. That each of us finds a way that we can live our life powerfully from an awareness of who we are, from an awareness of source energy, from an awareness of the law of attraction, that we are more than capable of creating lives that we love to live and a world that works for everyone. And so I release these words with expectation, knowing that they are loosed into a law that only ever says yes, that my words are clothed in form even as they are spoken. And so I gratefully do that. I lovingly do that. And I invite everyone to anchor this prayer for yourselves and for each other simply by saying, "And so it is. Amen." Amen, amen.